Welcome back to another episode of the Todd Durkin Impact Show. Boys and girls, buckle up your bootstraps. That's all I have to say today because we have a very special guest who will be with us in just a matter of moments. His name is Andrew Ruiz, and this man is special. You're going to hear all about why he is so special and what he's doing, but I can tell you this. If you've been following along for any length of time for the last several months or years, you know how fired up I am about my newest endeavor, IMPACT-X Performance. Yep, IMPACT-X Performance, a fitness and coaching franchise. Well, Andrew Ruiz is numero uno in the expansion here up in Huntington Beach, California. And we are transforming Huntington Beach as we speak. Andrew is going to be in the house in just a matter of minutes. But before we go to Andrew Ruiz, I got to tell you about a few things that I'm also excited about. Number one here, depending on when you're listening to this, if you're a hard charger and when this drops here on October 7th, in just a matter of a few days, we have a very special webinar coming up all about if you want to be a keynote or motivational speaker or just someone who's a hero in your community and you want to be doing more speaking, I'm going to be dropping some dimes on a absolutely free webinar, October 9th. So just go to todddurkin.com, check out all the details, sign up. It's free. And I'm going to be giving you some huge props on what you can do to amplify your own speaking career. So check that out on October 9th. And if you miss that, no worries. Then just meet me in Montana. Yeah, the mountain retreat. Y'all been hearing me talk about this, and we only have 25 spots available. If you want one of those 25 spots to be in Whitefish, Montana, November 14th to the 17th, trust me, you do not want to miss this. It's called Rise and Shine in 25. Rise and Shine in 25. You're like, TD, it's only October. But guess what? Next month, when it happens, it's November. We'll be 6 weeks away from 2025, and I'm not waiting. The God-Sized Dreams Planner is going to be coming out. Those who are in the room are actually going to receive it. Shh, don't tell anybody. And it is going to be going deep. We've got an amazing event planned in Whitefish. If you want to be in Whitefish, just say yes to be in the room. Take a look at all the details. Go to todddurkin.com. There you have it, my friends. So without further ado, in just a matter of moments, as you lace up your bootstraps, buckle up the chin straps, let's get ready for an amazing episode with the one and the only Andrew Ruiz. Here we go. My friends, I am so excited today to have Andrew Ruiz in the house. Andrew, welcome to the Impact Show.
Thanks for having me, TD. I really appreciate it. I'm super honored and super excited to be here. This is actually part of my Big Five for 2024. So
really,
I manifested it early on, so I'm super excited to be here. You know what?
You kept that one a secret.
We're both really busy. Let's just leave it at that.
You look very well rested. For as busy as you are, you have a lot going on, and we want to talk about some of that today because you have a very interesting background with all that you're doing. But you look well rested.
Yeah. Well, I got a little bit of sleep on a flight home from Chicago yesterday. So.
And you live in Huntington Beach, California, or you're in the Orange County area, and you're opening an IXP, IMPACT-X Performance, in Huntington Beach. And I'm going to talk about that in a few. But I've got some rapid fire questions to make sure everyone's really listening in. You ready to go?
I'm ready.
This is rapid fire. My friends, buckle up right now. Here we go. How many kids do you have?
I have two beautiful children. Francesca, she's 9 years old, or she's going to be 9 in about 2 weeks. And then I have a 5-year-old. His name's Theodore.
And you look so well rested still.
Again, I was in Chicago out of town, so my wife's doing the work at home.
How long have you been married for?
I've been married for 10 years on October 18th, so I'm coming up on my 10-year anniversary.
October 18th. Matter of fact, that's just another week or so when this podcast
absolutely.
drops. So 10 years.
10 years.
10's a good number.
That is. That's a good number, yeah.
It's a great number. X. Yep. Like Impact X, 10 is 10, 10 is the number. So 10 years. Where did you guys meet?
We met in high school. Yeah.
What?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll never forget math class in high school. I walk in, first conversation we had was about chocolate chip pancakes.
In math class?
In math
class.
Like
how many if you take 6 and divide it by 2?
That's exactly what it was. No, yeah. But we talked about that, and then she gave me a little bit of heat too because I had just stopped playing baseball to focus more on football, and she's a baseball fan, so she gave me a little bit of heat there, but we won't get into that.
And you play what position in football?
Quarterback.
And small world, coming off when you were in a playoff victory or playoff game, you were playing Horizon Christian here in San Diego, And you ran into who?
I ran into Pastor Miles McPherson, played against his son, Miles Jr.
Yep. We
ended up training together here at Fitness Quest 10 shortly after. So.
Yeah. And what did Pastor Miles say to you at the time? Now, you were living in the desert, right? Came all the way over an hour or so away. And what did he say after the game, after you guys lost?
He said he didn't see what we brought, to the table, and I had a really good game. It was one of the best I played in my entire high school career. So I was honored to have him approach me after the game. I had no idea who he was, no idea who his son was, and then lo and behold, we meet later when we're playing football at Grossmont College. So
yeah, small world. I had to share that because when Andrew told me that a few years back, I was like, what a small world on that. And by the way, Pastor Miles McPherson is going to be our guest speaker in Montana. He is going to be our guest speaker for the mountain retreat. So he's coming out there, is excited for that, and comes full circle all the way back to your high school glory days, right?
The glory days.
Favorite vacation spot?
You know what? We don't vacation very much, but I'll give a little plug to Whitefish because I had a wonderful time over there back in January with you guys in the IMPACT-X coaching program. But hopefully I can bring my family there someday in the near future.
Yeah. I was going to say, is it desert or mountains? Because you're from the desert and then you like the mountains and okay.
I love the desert, but avoid it at all costs right now.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter where it's at. Hardest thing you've ever been through?
I'm going to go back to 2020. I work in healthcare and we had a little thing called a pandemic. And
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Blocked it out.
I've been blocking it out too. But during that time, I had a couple of employees of mine, a couple of staff members that passed away, one from COVID. And then about 30 days later, I had another pass away from cancer. So to go through that in a very short period of time as a leader, I think it was really difficult for me. So.
Yeah. Favorite quote? Do you have a favorite quote that you live by or right now that's resonating deeply?
Yeah, make a difference. So I tell my kids every morning before they go home from school to make a difference. Figure out one way, one small micro act of kindness, to help make a difference in somebody's day.
Favorite sport to watch or play?
Football, hands down. It's the best sport to watch, the best sport to play. There's nothing like it.
Okay, I agree.
Yeah.
What is your daytime job? You say you're in healthcare. Talk about your regular job.
Yeah, I'm the Director of Imaging Services for Children's Hospital of Orange County, which basically means that I'm responsible for the overall operations and strategic planning for radiology, diagnostic radiology, and interventional radiology for the enterprise.
And it's called C.H.O.C Institute, is that correct?
C.H.O.C. That's correct. C.H.O.C for short, right?
Yep. So Children's Hospital of Orange County.
Correct.
How many people do you oversee?
About 133 people right now at the moment.
Jeez.
Yeah. I started 3.5 years ago with 73, and we've almost doubled in size in only 3 years. So
you've gotten in 3 years a lot of leadership lessons.
Absolutely. Yep. Good and the bad. Yeah.
That's leadership. We're talking about human beings,
Absolutely.
Right? I remember Pastor Jeremiah talking about that once. He's like, when you're an entrepreneur, you're dealing with human beings. We're not robots, right? So you got ups and downs and everything else. When you have 133 people that you're leading, there's a lot of ups, there's a lot of downs, there's a lot of wins, there's a lot of losses. Ultimately, are we living the mission? What's the most exciting thing happening in your life these days?
So professionally at C.H.O.C, I've got about $29 to $30 million worth of projects going on at the same time. And I've got 3 of them coming off my plate here in the next 6 to 8 months. So to see, from start to finish a project from design all the way to completion has been a pretty unique experience for me, especially because of the impact that we're going to make on the community. Personally, my kids, seeing my son go to school, he's going to kindergarten now and thrive there. And then my daughter's playing soccer, so it's her first stint in competitive team sports.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So watching her go through all that and watching him do that is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So awesome. A little get to know Andrew Ruiz.
Yeah.
So talk for a moment about your ascent through Fitness Quest 10 as a client all the way up to what you're doing now. Real quick in a nutshell, started as a client.
Yep, started as a client and then went on to be an intern for a couple of months. And then, when...
You were a client, how old were you as a client?
I was 18.
Yep.
Yeah, I was 18.
Playing college football.
And then went on to be an intern. I had a conversation with you about how I wanted to be entrenched in the culture here.
Yep.
And without hesitation, you let me into your home. So I really appreciate that. But once I finished that out, it was time for me to go to school and start looking towards my career. And I went to X-ray school, radiology school, and graduated from there, started my career. So we lost touch for a couple of years, right? But as I came up here to Orange County, I was new to my role at C.H.O.C, and I was struggling through kind of the ins and outs and learning a massive health system, and I was feeling a little burnout. And lo and behold, I'm kind of scrolling through my social media, and I see you talking about the God-Sized Dreams program.
Yeah.
And I kind of put it on the back burner, was thinking, maybe I'll invest in myself, but I don't know if I'm ready yet. And had a conversation with my wife a few days later about it, because it just kept kind of tugging at me. And she, without hesitation, she told me I need to do it. So I'll thank my wife for that.
21 or 22? Which one, when you got in?
That was 22. Yep, that was 22, yeah. So
that was the second cohort, and the God-Sized Dreams coaching program is in the middle of the pandemic when I was going through my own back pain. That was my way of, God help me, like, I need to serve, and let's have our God-Sized Dreams coaching program of how do we make our dreams bigger than our past.
Absolutely.
How do we make our dreams bigger than our past? And that was the GSD program.
Yep.
Keep going.
Yeah, so finished that. It was a 90-day intensive program. Learned a lot there about habits and really trying to learn what my divine uniqueness was and what I was going to do with either my career or even beyond that. And finished that. I felt really good about it when I got out. But again,
stop for a second before you go on. Is that when you transformed your own personal health?
That is at that time, yeah.
You lost how much weight?
I lost about 35 pounds. Yeah, I was, again, stressed out, overworked, overwhelmed, and a little burnout.
And you were young.
And I'm very young, yeah. Been diagnosed with high blood pressure at 27 years old.
Jeez.
Yeah, and high cholesterol and whatnot. So
35 pounds overweight, you're in your late 20s, get in the GSD program, change your lifestyle, habits. Okay, keep going.
Yeah, and rode that out even past the 90 days. We still stayed in touch, but again, we're both very busy human beings. So fast forward to January of 2023.
Yep, exactly.
January 9th to be exact. I'll never forget the day. I was walking into work and I got a phone call from my mom, which is pretty random at about 7:30 in the morning. She asked me what I was doing, where I was. I told her I was walking into the office, and she said, well, call me when you get into your office. So obviously, sparked my attention. I ran into my office, shut the door, and called her back, and she proceeded to tell me that my dad was diagnosed with liver cancer. So as one would imagine, it was a punch to the gut, you know what I mean? And I kind of walked around that day in what I call autopilot, just kind of in and out of thinking about it and whatnot, and went through that day and was walking in my car that evening. By the way, I just want to be very clear. My dad's doing great. Since then, he's received a liver transplant. He's free of cancer, and everything's doing good. So I don't want to, make that part of, the big part of my story. But what the big part is as I was walking in my car, I get a phone call from none other than Todd Durkin, and it was super random, and I proceeded to hear the proverbial yoo-hoo, and you started telling me about this program that you had just created that you wanted to roll out called IMPACT-X Coaching. And that you thought that I'd be perfect for the first cohort, for the first team that you were developing. And without hesitation, I told you I was all in. And I think the significance of all that, aside from my dad's name being Paul, right, which is another thing that we have in common, when I got that phone call, I didn't really know what to expect. But what kind of proceeded to happen from there was getting involved with a group of like-minded individuals, all of which have, various levels of experience, and they're in different industries and whatnot. And to have that support system throughout what I was going through in 2023, I think was critical, not just with my dad and my family and my personal life, but also within my career, because, we started talking about my interest in opening up a fitness studio in Orange County as well at that time. So, as we were talking through that, I've got individuals like Greg Justice, who's been in the fitness industry for a long time, Chris Foote, Jordan Delks, right? Fit pros, know what they're doing and they're really good at it, right? I've got, business gurus, finance gurus like Tom Dexter and Gus Cheliotis, right?
Dave Sider,
the mergers and acquisitions lawyer, right? That will obviously come into play in our conversation, I'm sure, at some point with the way that I came to with IXP in Huntington Beach. So
what's interesting is back then, guys, when I was starting IMPACT-X Coaching, there was no franchise, and I didn't market IMPACT-X Coaching. I just called about a dozen of the people who I thought would be a great way to start IMPACT-X coaching. I didn't put it out on email. I didn't go out there and market it to the greater audience. I just wanted to have a group of guys who could be kind of almost like an advisory council with each other, high-level entrepreneurs. And that was the start of IMPACT-X coaching. We now have a second cohort of IMPACT-X coaching. These are men and women who are high performers or want to be high performers, who want that level of accountability in their life to not just have success, but also have significance. And Andrew is one of the guys I called. I didn't know, obviously, on January 9th when I called, that it was the same day your dad was diagnosed with liver cancer. So it was just a divine thing with all of that. So fast forward to today. A lot's happening, a year and 9 months.
Yeah.
For those who have been following along, earlier this year, I announced I was starting a fitness franchise called IMPACT-X Performance, where faith, fitness, life coaching, and recovery all under one roof. And then Andrew came into being because he's part of our IMPACT-X coaching. He's like, hey, that dream I had of someday having a fitness studio, I want to have an IMPACT-X Performance facility. So take us up to right now. You're the proud new owner of IMPACT-X Performance Huntington Beach, and your grand opening is coming up in about a month, November 7th. So all you who are in SoCal, please join us, Andrew, myself, and the team in Huntington Beach, California on November 7th. But as we speak, you came down here to San Diego today to be live in studio because you're in the middle of a build-out, which is probably being, like, today's one of the worst days, probably a lot going on.
They're tearing walls down literally today.
So I'm like, Andrew, come on down. Let's talk about this. Get away for a day.
I can get away today,
right? Just bring us up to snuff. How are you feeling? I know probably a bad day to be asking about all this stuff, but how are you feeling, and what are you most excited about in the middle of the build-out right now with IMPACT-X Performance?
TD, it's actually a good day today. I mean, when one might think you're tearing down walls, the floors are coming up, things are happening, right? We're trying to fully operate a gym in the midst of all that. It's a very stressful time, but I thrive in those environments, and I love all aspects of project management, making sure that we put the right systems and operations in place to be able to thrive while the demo is going on, right? So working with my partner, Amanda Middleman, to ensure that the members don't lose out on anything over the next couple weeks has been a challenge, but I think at the end of the day, it's we haven't skipped a beat. So that's a good thing, right?
Yeah. What's interesting, Amanda Middleman, who I have known and worked with for over a dozen years, an amazing woman, amazing fit pro, amazing colleague. She had her gym in Huntington for 10 plus
2013,
years. Right. And you happened to be in the room in Florida when I made the announcement. Just so happened that you were sitting next to Amanda Middleman, not even knowing each other.
Right.
Just, you were in the room. I was like, be in the room, guys, be in the room. She was at a point in her career where she was like, I'm ready for the next level. You're in the room in your own head thinking, I'm opening up one of these IXPs.
Yeah.
You happen to be sitting next to each other. Well, here it is. You two are partners now of a gym that existed. Now it's rebranding to IMPACT-X Performance with Amanda running the show and you helping to lead the charge. Talk about that. How is that going as a rebrand? And you're the first one that is putting all of the elements in here in operation between the fitness, the recovery, everything on the recovery side, the life coaching, and of course the faith aspect. So talk about what that's looked like and how that's been.
Yeah, no, it's a great question. A couple of things come to mind. I mean, you just said it right now, be in the room, right? I think through my experience with the God-Sized Dreams program and whatnot, I found it very beneficial for me to start investing in myself because once I did that, a lot of doors started opening up for me. And so that was the opportunity in Delray Beach with you at the Mastermind Retreat is, here I am going into this franchise, this IXP franchise. I need to go learn from the best, right? So I took that trip when you offered it up to me, and then sitting next to Amanda, I think was...
And that wasn't on purpose, by the way.
It was not on purpose. And starting the conversations off, we had so much in common. I mean, our connections with C.H.O.C even, deeper on that level.
That's right.
You know what I mean? So there was just a lot of things pointing in our direction, right? So, I'm really big on surrendering and just letting things, letting the chips fall where they're going to land, and so I think that was critical, because we didn't even walk out of Delray Beach, with any understanding of what a partnership was going to look like, or even the fact, that we were looking at partnering until much later. So we had those conversations shortly thereafter, and the rest is history. I want to acknowledge, my confidence in what we're doing right now with the build out, and, the fact that we have to continue to operate, because I've got Amanda Middleman on my side.
Yes.
She's a strong, experienced fit pro that has built an amazing community in Huntington Beach. And I'm just super excited for what's to come, because we're taking what once was Momentum Fitness and we're transforming it into something that's bigger and better in IXP.
Yeah.
So,
what do you think's been the hardest part of that? Because it involves change, right? And change is hard for anyone, right? Change is hard. And here you have Amanda, who has run her gym, and she's like, I want part of this. What's been the hardest part for, whether it be Amanda or the community or yourself, in the transformation? You have a vision and you know where it's going, but people don't love the change. Has that been a challenge? Is it a challenge? What's been the hardest part of all of that?
I mean, look, Amanda's built Momentum from the ground up since 2013 was when that went live. She's built a strong community, people that she cares for deeply, and they care about her deeply.
Yep.
My goal in coming into this was to make the impact, no pun intended, but make the impact as minimal as possible for her and her team and her members, right? So I think that the most difficult and challenging part is, how do you take a transformation like that and really continue to operate the way that it used to, but everybody understand that this is the direction that we're headed in.
Yeah.
Coming in from the outside, I'm not a fit pro. That's probably been the biggest challenge for me personally, but really, I think the biggest challenge is continue to operate while we're in construction. That's no joke.
Business as usual while there's jackhammers going off.
Absolutely.
And again, I'll refer back to Pastor Jeremiah. One of his famous quotes is, you have to make your future and your dreams bigger than your past.
Yeah.
Got to make your dreams bigger than your past. And one of the things in coaching Amanda over the years, was always about, how do you get to the next level? And in getting to the next level, many times you have to give up to go up.
Right.
You gotta, even if things are good or they're average or mediocre or whatever, wherever they're at, in order to get to the next level, you often have to give up that level. And I talk about it in my True Strength book, of some of the things I had to give up to get to the point where I'm at now, to get to where I believe we are going as a company on that. I think Amanda's done a great job, because I know with your vision of what you want to do with IXP, not just having one location, but future forward, locations across OC, LA, SoCal. Amanda's a big part of that. So I think it's a huge aspect.
Yeah, and interestingly enough, I went through a little bit of that again 3.5 years ago when I moved to Orange County. I was born and raised in the Imperial County. That's where I started my career, and that's where I honestly plan to end my career. And as I went through, the first couple of years of my directorship there, I kept getting those whispers and those ideas, that, hey, you're doing a fantastic job here, but let's do more. How do you create more impact?
Why are you doing it? Like, you don't need to. Like, you got C.H.O.C, you got a great career. Why?
I'll tell you a little story that'll kind of put things into perspective. So early on in my career as an MRI tech, and about 2 weeks into my career, I'm doing an MRI on somebody that's severely claustrophobic. So claustrophobic that she had to be blindfolded before we walked into the room. So I was holding her hand because I had to walk her into the room. She didn't let go of my hand as she went into the machine. So I was halfway into the MRI machine by the time we were ready to start, and she wouldn't let go. So what I did is I just told the other tech, just scan, I'll hang out in here. So I was halfway in the magnet with her for 30 minutes. When we got out, she was crying, and I thought, why are you crying? You should be excited. You got through this, And she said, I've been trying to do this for 3 years.
No way.
Yeah. And I just, I want to thank you for the impact that you made on me. And what I realized that day was, I scan about 15 patients a day. So I have the ability to create positive impact on 15 people a day, at least, right? If I get into leadership, I have the ability to impact 40 people who are going to go out and impact 15 people a day. So the impact multiplies from there. What I'm doing here at IXP is something very similar. How do we take this vessel, right, and this approach to holistic wellness and we put the fun and functional fitness, how do we take this model that I believe in and spread it across not just Orange County, but across the U.S., in the world.
Story.
Yeah.
Great story. I can relate to it, by the way, about claustrophobic and an MRI machine. I think I wrote about it in True Strength, one of my aspects, but you just holding her hand and being there allowed her to get to that point where she could go into that.
Yeah, and the other thing the other aspect of that too is from a leadership standpoint, coming into this, again, not being a fit pro and already having, my role at C.H.O.C, the world needs more Amanda Middleman.
100.
And whatever I can do to elevate her and help her expand and grow, I think is the other thing that excites me the most here.
Yeah, one of the things I've learned, I've talked about this before, but like how do you form your whether it be called your advisory council or your inner circle of people, when you have other people around you are really strong, you as a leader, you as a heart-centered leader, along with an Amanda Middleman, who is one of the most passionate, purpose-driven women, human beings on the planet.
Yeah.
You align two, and you get with some of the other people on our team. Next thing you know, it's like sky's the limit.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Talk about we have obviously 4 pillars in the IMPACT-X Performance model. Which one of those? I know this is hard to answer, but does one of them excite you? I'd say more than another, but you got faith, you got fitness, you got recovery, you got life coaching. Does one of those kind of stand out to you of like, hey, this is really where I want to sink my teeth, or where the greatest growth opportunities for me or the community of, whether it's 100 people, 200 people, 300 people, as we grow and evolve? What are you most excited about within that?
So I think, I'm most excited about it right now because I just experienced it firsthand. But, I had the opportunity to go to a recovery center and do some cold plunging and some infrared sauna. Yeah. And I think that you and I have had many conversations about where recovery is headed within the fitness industry and trying to mold, fitness with recovery and the mindset and all those things. I think there's a unique opportunity in the recovery space that nobody else has really approached in a efficient way, yep. Right? And so what we're doing on the recovery side with IMPACT-X Performance, I think it excites me because you're basically creating a one-stop shop for somebody to come who can come get a cold plunge. They can cycle between hot and cold and go into the infrared sauna. They can put on the air compression boots, use the massage guns, massage goggles, be in a very calm environment to where they can go actually recover, as well as on the fitness side.
And that was part of the vision of how you have a dedicated space.
Yeah.
I always struggle with that, is like, now, especially a lot of the studios that I see, and heck, even some in our mastermind group, you want the recovery in there, so you intertwine it in the lobby, right, or out on the floor, versus how do you have a dedicated space so that your mind can relax, and you can put the goggles on, the eye goggles, and have some audio acoustic work going on in your head where you can actually relax and get in the sauna, to have that dedicated space between the yin and the yang. I so agree. I think the recovery has tremendous opportunity, and I haven't seen it done well in the industry, like overall by many, many, many people. It's out there and it's coming more and more, but IXP is definitely going to be a leader in that space. What's your vision of the future for IXP? Like, how does it fit into your whole vision of where Andrew Ruiz is going? You've got C.H.O.C, you got your career, you got IXP. If you were to look down, I don't know, 1 year, 5 years, 10 years, like, what do you see for you and IXP?
So again, being in the unique situation that I'm in currently, not just because I've got my role at C.H.O.C and I'm investing in IXP and whatnot, but because we're creating this somewhat of a flagship model, right? I think I'm excited that we're a part of that, because we're developing something that can be scaled out across, hopefully the U.S. and hopefully in other, countries in the future as well. But I think a year down the road, I want to stay in the present and really understand, what it is that we're doing and how we can operationalize things to make it as efficient as we can so that it can be scalable. So really the goals are pretty simple in the first year. Keep our existing members, 100% of them, right? Do whatever we can to keep that. We want to grow our membership base by about 60 or 70%. Yep. And then, at the end of the year, we want to, hopefully double our monthly income. I love it. 3 to 5 years down the road, it's really get to 7 figures, but it's become, the best studio in not just Huntington Beach, but in Orange County, so. And then 10 years down the road, I want to have 10 of them spread across Orange County at least. So, and, as we start to expand, I think, it's going to be really important for us to dial it in and make sure that happens.
And that's no small goal. Orange County is full of gyms and studios and private training centers and some good ones. I have friends and people I know up in Orange County that have that. So I know IMPACT-X Performance is well positioned to really serve the market. What I'd say with all of that and all the trainers and coaches, we have a lot listening in, is, are you coming from a scarcity mindset or a growth mindset? There's so many people that can be helped, need to be helped, want to be helped in today's day. The quote competition down the street. There's plenty of people to help in this world. There's
Absolutely.
Plenty of people that are either going to resonate or not resonate with your studio or gym. Is when we go out there to serve and serve and serve and serve and serve some more. That's the mindset that allows everyone to grow. Yeah. Because we don't want to see any gym studios go out of business. We don't want to see people fail. We want everything flourishing so people can be served in whatever way best fits them. So I'm excited for you with that. You talk about the challenges, the difficulties in navigating through an opening and everything that, to go from a dream, hey, I want to start my own studio, I want to start IMPACT-X Performance, to opening November 7th here, coming up in just about a month as this podcast drops. Can you talk about some of the resources or mentorship and guidance that you've received on this journey? Because you've talked to and through a lot of different people on the team. You have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, well, I'll start with the man sitting in front of me, Todd. You're 25 plus years in the industry. You've grown, created an amazing brand and everything that you're doing in the fitness industry. And what I see is somewhat reviving it and being at the forefront of, what we're doing post-pandemic, I think is phenomenal. So to have you at the head of the table, I think has been extremely valuable for me personally. And then, you've got Travis Barnes, who has been labeled the systems guy, but really what I see in Travis is that he's a servant leader, what I mean? And he does whatever he can to support you and everything that you're looking to do.
7 days a week.
7 days a week. I call him on Saturdays, Sundays. Yep. The only time I don't call him is at night because I'm on the West Coast, he's on the East Coast.
He gets up at 2 a.m.
He gets up at 2 a.m. So
he's in bed by 9.
Yeah. Cindy, she's straight up. She tells it how it is. You know what I mean? So, to have her strength, within all this, I think has been instrumental to not just me, but all the other franchisees that are currently operating. Sure. I'm going to kind of give credit where credit's due for a couple other individuals, one being Tom Dexter, who has really guided me on the business side of things through, for the last year and a half, to be honest with you. It's been a year and a half journey getting to where we are now and hopefully opening this thing up November 7th. So to have, Tom, by my side and kind of guiding me through some of the ins and outs of business and finance, I think has been astronomical, and I can't thank him enough. My parents, I want to honestly give them a huge shout out because early on in my life, my parents gave me a lot of opportunities to make decisions, like very difficult decisions. And I feel like that has prepared me to be able to take risks and do things in my life that are not of scarcity, right? Yeah. So, I want to thank him for that. And honestly, my mom's helped me got my books right. She's a bookkeeper for many, many years. So she's helped me get the books going here too. So I can't thank her enough for that too. And then my wife, it's pretty amazing when you have a partner that supports you in everything that you do. I'm sure you know this firsthand. we're always looking to do the next thing, right? You talk about it all the time with LT when he won the MVP 100%. Award, right? What's next? I feel like I operate in the same way, and it could be very, very stressful for somebody, for your spouse, to have to really, again, buckle up the bootstraps, put your seatbelt on, and get ready for the ride, you know? So to have her by my side and really be the one that is pushing me to do these things, you know, pushing me to invest in myself and really now helping me kind of work through some of the ins and the outs of the business too. She's been a huge help because, you know, unfortunately I can't be there all day long or every day, right? So I can't thank her enough for that.
That's huge. And I know Sarah plays a huge role in everything you're doing, because it'd be really hard to be doing what you're doing without support at home.
Right, absolutely.
And the fact that you're in it together and she's getting even more involved in the business. I was thinking about when we were working out this morning before today's recording that my daughter McKenna was in there.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about when my daughter McKenna, well, your kid's age is, that they're going to be growing up in the gym.
Yeah.
And before you know it, you're going to blink and they're in high school.
Yep.
And then they're going to be in college. And like it becomes almost a family thing. And I'm excited for you with that because I know how integrated Sarah is in the business on that. And always great to have mom and dad's support, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Always.
Yeah.
And, you know, I want to give a shout out to Dex, Tom Dexter. Some of you just DM'd me recently about the episode that Tom Dexter and I did. You talk about a godsend. Tom Dexter's been a godsend for me. And I shared that on the episode previously because Dex, who I've known for 35 years, and as a guy I die for, it's interesting how people come back into your life at the right times.
Yeah.
Tom Dexter is intimately involved, not just as a financial advisor inside of our organization, but as a mentor and colleague for many. And I know how much time he spends with you on the phone, and then he'll report back to me on aspects. Dex is a godsend, and he's a blessing. And there's people who come into your life at the right time, right? And Dex is one of those guys who's come back into our lives and my life at the right time because the guidance that he's providing on many levels to many people. And if you're inside of our organization, you understand what he does. But he's one of the smartest, brightest men, women, human beings who I know. Dex is someone who you want to be around. You talk about a guy that is smart, emotional intelligence, and when you're making big decisions, as you are, that you know are thousands of dollars, Dex is the kind of guy you want to lean in and say, "Is this the right decision?
Yeah.
Am I being a fool here?" And he'll tell you the truth, like yes or no, or let's figure out a way to get it done. So,
I was just about to say that. I mean, not only is he extremely bright and he knows business and finance, but he'll tell you how it is, and he'll tell you, what he believes it needs to be. And you really need somebody like that in your corner when you're making massive decisions like this, because, it's not all rainbows and butterflies. You know what I mean? It's when you get down to the nitty gritty of it all, it really is. It's a challenging task to really analyze what you're doing and whether or not it's going to be beneficial for you and your family. So to have him there has been phenomenal.
100%.
Yeah.
And then obviously, lastly, Travis. You mentioned Travis, who I don't know if he sleeps or not, but he gets stuff done and he cares. I love being around people who just genuinely care so much that they'll do anything, anytime, any day. And Travis Barnes is that. We just spent a better part of a week together at a conference, and he just continually. And I've coached Travis for over a decade, and he continually just amazes me at what he does for IMPACT-X Performance. And you're absolutely right with how he is and who he is, because him and Cindy, man, they'll do anything for IXP.
So much so that when I first met Travis, I was in Indianapolis.
Yeah,
and
That's right.
I told him I was going to be in Indianapolis, just a routine conversation that we were having, and he said, "Oh, we got a studio up in Columbia City, Indiana." And I said, "Oh, that's 2 hours north. It'd be nice, but I don't think I have the time." And he said, "Why don't I fly over there, and I'll meet you over there, and we can drive over there together." Yeah. So we drove. We never had met in person. We met at 3:00 in the morning, and we drove 2 hours to the north. didn't know what we were going to talk about, but I think Cindy got a little upset with us. She was in the back seat trying to sleep, and
we wouldn't shut up.
Yeah, we wouldn't shut up. So,
Andrew, you're obviously a leader, and ever since I've known you, you've been a leader. And at C.H.O.C, you're leading 133 people. Now with IXP, you're leading a team of people with Amanda. I'd love to know just, not that if you were to write a book, but if there's 3 or 5 or so principles on leadership that would relate to anyone who's listening in now, whether they're a coach, trainer, fit pro, or they're a mom, dad, or an entrepreneur who just wants more inspiration, wants more leadership. What are maybe your top 3 to 5 leadership principles that you try to lead your teams with?
Good question. I've been very fortunate to be put into these situations where I get to lead large groups of people. And I think over the last couple of years, especially, and through all the deep work we've been doing together, I've developed a concept, if you will, or an acronym. I know you're really big on acronyms, so am I. But an acronym, but it's basically the elite leadership or the elite mentality, right? And elite is an acronym that stands for excellence, right? That perpetual pursuit, that we're constantly in as leaders, and making sure that we never settle for mediocrity. Lead with love. So I'm a firm believer in empathy and compassion as a leader, and I feel like it could move mountains in some very difficult times and conversations that you have to have. The I stands for what? What do you think?
Impact.
Let's
go.
So live inspired, master your craft, play at world class, take action, condition for greatness, and be tenacious, right? And then the T is be transformational. Be a transformational leader. What are you going to do to transform lives, right? And then finally, the E is something I think is very, very important for every leader, and it's bring the energy. You got to have energy. I mean, there's going to be long days, long nights as a leader, and a lot of things that you're going to have to do to better those around you. So you have to bring the energy. You have to have energy to be a successful leader.
That's so good. Elite. Being an elite leader.
Yep.
Man, that's good. Sounds like a keynote to me.
And then some, that I will tell you too is awareness is another thing that I've been kind of researching and investigating, how important awareness is as a leader, and emotional intelligence, and having the ability to read a room as soon as you walk in. I think it's critical for leaders in making sure that you know who you're speaking to.
Yeah.
So,
with a team of 133, how do you connect with them? Meaning you can't meet with 133 people one-on-one all the time. So how do you do that? Do you leave weekly messages? Do you go around and you have departmental meetings? How do you connect with them?
So that's a whole nother podcast episode, to be honest with you. It's a lot. It's a lot of work. But I think to kind of sum it all up, you really want to make sure that you're putting those around you in positions that they can be successful. And what I'm talking about is I've really done I've done some deep and tough work to build the leadership team around me to make sure that they can go out and echo everything that we're trying to implement there, right? So really focusing on building the leadership team and making sure that they have the tools they need to be successful is probably one of the biggest things. Secondly, we've got staff meetings every other month. Okay. Right, so that's basically I do 6 staff meetings in a week. They're all an hour long. So I try to do one every day, and then I do 2 on Wednesdays, one in the morning, one in the evening. That's to give everybody an opportunity to come see what's happening in the department and across the organization. On top of that, the in-between month, we put out a newsletter, right? Gotcha. So they're still getting information on those in-between months, and I try to put out what I call a director's message, where you put out a little bit of inspiration for the team to keep the juices flowing there.
Yep.
And then really just the power of rounding. I can't say it enough, making sure that you're showing face and everybody sees you and they have the ability to have those conversations with you, I think is critical. And, I have an open door policy. My door's always open. Sometimes it's a gift and a curse, right?
Totally.
But I'm sure you experience it all the time here. But having your door open and everybody know that they have a comfortable and safe place that they can come express themselves, I think is huge as well.
Love it. Great leadership. I know I've watched you lead people for many years now, and it's amazing how you're a great listener.
Thank you.
You're a great listener, and I think leaders have to listen. It's hard sometimes when you think you have all the answers, but or you have feedback to give, but you need to listen. And I think that's one of your gifts or superpowers is you're a phenomenal listener.
I appreciate it. Yeah. I mean, I'm 35 years old. You know, I still have a lot to learn, you know, and I think, you know, I'm a sponge as well. You know what I mean? So I like to take the information that's being provided to me and figure out how I can do something positive with it. So
what do you do now from a leadership perspective? You're busy as heck. You're leading your family. You're married. You got 2 kids. You're busy with all of their activities. You've got C.H.O.C, and now you've got IXP. What are some of your, I'll call them top habits? You talked earlier on how you got rid of some bad habits and lost a bunch of weight and cleaned up your diet. You know, if there's 2, 3, or 4 habits that you're doing now that are allowing you to operate in a stealth-like fashion, what are those few habits that you're doing?
Great question. The first is sleep. You know, I've put a huge emphasis on, you know, sleep and making sure that I get, you know, between 6 and 7 hours. I aim for 7, right? But, you know, some days are different, right? Exercise is huge. You know, I get after it pretty much every day now. At this point, it makes me feel good. Absolutely. You know, I get my dose, right? Alcohol, completely eliminated it about 1.5 years ago. And what I found with that is the level of productivity that I have now, as opposed to when I had alcohol in my life, has been night and day. You know.
So if Sarah says, "Let's have a glass of wine," you say, "Enjoy, honey. I'll watch you."
give me the NA. Give me the non-alcoholic beer, or you know, or just give me a soda water. You know what I mean? That's really what I go with. And then taking kind of the tools that you provided to us through these programs as well, TD, with journaling and reading and making sure that I'm keeping up, you know, with the mental aspect of it too, is really what I aim for. You know, I try to read, you know, at least 1 book a month, and I try my best to journal every day, you know, because I think it's important.
Has there been a book in the last, you know, 6, 7 months or so that you've read that was like, wow, that's a really good book. It really resonated with where I'm at now on any level?
Yeah.
Besides True Strength.
Yeah. True Strength, get your mind right. All Atomic Habits was huge. I think because everything, you know, is so chaotic right now, and there's so many things going on. I really, you know, wanted to make sure I brought that book into my life, because I think it's really important to kind of see, you know, how you need to set up your life to be as efficient and as effective as you possibly can. So that was a big one for me.
And you journal most days of the week?
I journal most days of the week. I do my best to, you know, express gratitude and really, you know, try to aim for being organized and have a plan, right? Really big.
I love seeing what you're doing on all levels as a husband and father. And you know, you took a picture today and texted me with your daughter in the back seat. You're going to a concert. I'm like, that's living. That's life. That's what it's about. And they see their dad working hard at C.H.O.C and creating this dream and vision with IMPACT-X Performance. And it's really great to see you thriving right now.
Thank you.
And again, just mid-30s, you got, you know, your whole future ahead of you. I'm really excited for all that you're doing. Another question on IXP. If someone out there is a current gym owner, why should they or should they not consider possibly doing what Amanda Middleman did? Like you say, like Amanda's got her gym, and then she's like, "Man, I like what TD's doing. Let me rebrand this." Why would someone want to or not want to possibly do that with IXP?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think, you know, first and foremost, the resources that we have, you know, through the franchise, through yourself, you know, as a visionary leader, Travis being the systems guy and an operations-based leader, you know, those are key and critical. And you know, all the systems that IXP offers, you know, with our POS, with, you know, basically, you know, our supplements, you know, everything that we have, I think it kind of gives you a lot of structure, you know, that's necessary when you want to expand, right? And that the reason why I say expand is I think that a lot of times business owners in general, not just fit pros, you know, you get stuck in quicksand, right? You think things are going well, you know, and everything's been fine. You've been profitable and, you're doing what you need to do, but do you have the ability, do you want to, and do you have the ability to expand and kind of grow your brand and expand out into the region? I think for those fitness owners, that are fitness entrepreneurs that are looking to grow, something like IXP is really, in my opinion, it's the way to go. I mean, the people that don't want to do it or why they shouldn't do it, there's some businesses out there that are extremely successful, and maybe they don't need to expand or they don't need to do that, right?
Yeah.
And then, of course, if you just flat out don't want to grow, then I guess you don't have to. So
right, and it's interesting. I asked that because I've had a lot of conversations with trainers or master members. I'm like, no, don't, just do what you're doing. You're doing a great job. Like, just keep doing it, and you're happy. Like, this is good. We want you happy. We want you serving people. And if it's working, great, keep doing it. So I can't tell you the number of conversations I've had of like, no, I didn't build this to try to convert every gym to IMPACT-X Performance. We're trying to help people who, either have gyms and are stuck, stalled, frustrated, or they want to grow, but they don't know how to put faith in their business, or they're kind of stuck with the members and they need new life and rejuvenation after all the post-pandemic stuff, or the non-fit pro who is in transition, career transition, who their whole passion is fitness and love fitness and want to actually give back and make fitness a part of their life. Now we've got an actual system that works with. Yeah. I've made a lot of mistakes in my 25 plus years, and that's, all of that comes through IXP, and for the first time we've got faith and fitness and recovery and life coaching in under one roof.
Right.
So if someone's like, hey, I want to come in like yourself, who's coming in from the non-fit world, coming in and partnering with someone that wants to do that, like an Amanda, fantastic. And ultimately, there's a way deeper mission than even when I just had FQ10 solo by itself. It's like, now we're going to actually proliferate light. And if you want to be part of a larger team and organization and network where we're going to go proliferate to millions of people over the next 5 to 10 years, like we're going to grow this and we be part of that, then great, then be part of it. But the bottom line is this, like, there's a lot of fit pros who are doing amazing things in the world. And I love that. I'm like, keep doing what you're doing. Yeah. You don't need to change. Just keep doing it. And I still love you. We're working together, and some of them are part of the mastermind, and like, hey, however I can support you, we got a lot of people to serve. And there's how many hundreds of millions of Americans alone that need a lot of help, and we're only hitting a fraction of them. Now I do believe that with IMPACT-X Performance, people do have the ability, if they're like, hey, I really want to be in this space, but I have no idea how, well, then there's opportunities now, right, to do that.
And I was just going to say that, I mean, the first thing that comes to mind is when you're investing in something, you got to believe in what you're doing.
Absolutely.
Right. And I believe in the model that IMPACT-X Performance brings to the table, and I think having been through it myself, overweight, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, overwhelm, burnout, the tools that IXP has to offer is basically what I experienced through GSD, IMPACT-X coaching, getting back into the gym and rediscovering my passion for fitness, all those things. That's what IXP brings to the table. That's the model there. And so what I want to do, again, never being in the industry, but I feel this sense of commitment, to be able to take everything that I've learned over the years through your programs, the life coaching programs, another one, and really help put that model together, tie a bow on it, and then put it out to the world. So,
yeah. No, it's amazing. I talk about that in True Strength, right? And how God works in mysterious ways, how it all comes to fruition. Because I know now, and I'm so blessed that the mothership here, Fitness Quest 10, that was never the thought process. And the way God works is through the pandemic and working through me. I created all those programs after the pandemic. Like, I never thought I was going to have a God-Sized Dreams coaching program and an IMPACT-X coaching program and then a franchise and everything else. But I knew there was another step, like many people. Like, man, I feel like there's something inside of me. I don't know what it is. And I'm blessed that I love Fitness Quest 10, but I could never have grown Fitness Quest 10, the mothership here of the way it was positioned to go proliferate that. And I love it. And what Jeff's doing here and the team is doing, I love. But now with IXP, we can now scale it to hit impact all over the country with the model and the systems that literally we can replicate that and replicate it and have that impact and have people literally transform, as you said, transform their lives. The mission is be the light. And Andrew, in many ways, you're doing that in all aspects of your life. Be the light. What does that mean to you, and how do you see the Be the Light mission of IMPACT-X Performance? How do you see you amplifying your light in everything that you envision?
I talked about it a little bit earlier. What I tell my kids every morning before they go to school is make a difference. Figure out how you can help somebody get 1% better every day. Really, there's a lot of people who are in the dark right now. There's a lot of darkness out there. And be the light, to me, it means, how do we figure out ways to proliferate and shine the light on them so that you can create a pathway for them to be, successful or be healthy, in mind, body, and soul. So, really what I'm aiming to do with all this is just to figure out ways to, again, proliferate and expand and create impact to thousands and thousands of people, elevate people, right? Like Amanda Middleman, her team, elevate those that are within the trenches there, at IXP Huntington Beach. I just feel like, what can I do to best support those around me? And that's really what being the light to me means. It's how do I figure out ways to give people the tools they need to be successful.
And you do a great job at that. When you think about, and I don't know how much time right now you're thinking about it, but here on the show today, as you think about life in 10 years, you'll be 45 instead of 35. Kids are now 10 years older. Where do you see yourself in 10 years? What does life look like?
I think the big thing for me is, just surrendering to whatever's coming next. I think, my divine uniqueness, is my ability to lead and coach, right? And, as I've learned in the past, the minute that you surrender to what's coming at you is really when doors open up, you meet, certain individuals and you have conversations and things just start to organically, happen, right? And so where I see myself in 10 years, I'm not quite sure. I love what I do at C.H.O.C. I love what we're doing at IXP. C.H.O.C, I say, is the Disneyland of hospitals, which is kind of strange, but I walk in with a smile on my face every day when I go to that organization. We're defenders of childhood there, and what we're doing for our community over there is amazing. What we're doing for the fitness community is amazing in Huntington Beach and hopefully beyond. I think at this point, I'm just happy with, living in the moment, living in the present, and really just taking what is coming at me and figuring out what to do with it. Yeah. So I'm not quite sure. I know I didn't answer that.
No, it's good.
The right way, but yeah, whatever is next, whatever's God's plan.
You're living in the present, which is awesome. If someone wants to get a hold of you, Andrew, what's the best way to do that? I know IMPACT-X Performance Huntington Beach has an Instagram page. Is there anything else, anywhere else that people should or could look to get a hold of you or follow along?
Our handles are IMPACT-X Performance HB. Really not on all social media platforms, but on Instagram and Facebook primarily. And then my Instagram handle's Drew12 Reese. So that's really it outside of the whole email world and everything like that. But yeah,
we'll put that in the show notes. So if you didn't catch that, but IMPACT-X Performance HB is on Instagram, and Drew Ruiz 12. We'll put that in the show notes if you missed it, but certainly take a snapshot right now of this episode, put it on your Instagram stories, and tag Andrew and myself, and we'll get that back out as well. Andrew, is there anything I'm not asking you that I should?
No, I actually had a question for you, TD. It seems like you've been through it before, with everything that you've built here at Fitness Quest 10 and kind of where you transitioned into IMPACT-X Performance into the franchise. I mean, the biggest question I have obviously is, I'm doing what I can to create a model for non-fit pros, right? And a lot of times what happens and what I've learned through partnering with Amanda Middleman is, that's a pathway for entrepreneurs to go in to really be able to get the job done, but not necessarily have to be, so entrenched in the day-to-day operations of things. So when you have somebody that's transitioning their business, how did you do it? How did you get through it?
Man, I don't know why I'm getting emotional. Thank you. I'm getting emotional because I don't think I've ever had someone turn around. What question can I ask you? You turn around, I have a question for you. God works in mysterious ways. He really does. And sometimes we have plans, and the plans don't always go as we think they're going to go because God has a master plan. I share a lot of that in True Strength. But when we come from a servant heart, as you do, Andrew, it's interesting who shows up in your life. Right? And in my walk in 25 plus years of being in this great industry of ours in the fitness and coaching industry, been really blessed. And sometimes there's been times when I've been confused of like, how do I get through this phase or this, like manage this aspect? And those 3.5 year periods I shared in True Strength, looking back now, it makes sense why. But I know there's been some key people who showed up in my life and serving my clients, my members, and my people, my team have helped me. And to answer your question, if I understand it correctly, because I got emotional when you were asking me that, was it's really being ever present with who's right in front of your face and being able to serve them and ask them, like, what can I do to help you and serve you? And as I have prayed more and had more time in solitude, especially during that 2020 through 2023 period, and I'm talking solitude time of being on my knees and asking and praying to God, like, what do you want me to do? What do you want me to do? Like, on the outside world, it'd be easy to keep doing what you're doing because it looks good. But sometimes there's this little thing inside of you that God is whispering and saying, I got more in store for you, but you got to trust me more. For me, that was my whisper of, you got to let some things go. And I've given the analogy of the trapeze bar of like you get stuck between 1 and 2.
Yep.
And you get stuck, and letting go is one of the hardest things to do. But I do believe when you ask me, like, how do you do that? And it's like, it's trusting God more of like, it's God's plan. It's not my plan. Like, I don't even know where God's going to have when I ask, well, where are you in 10 years? I don't know where it's going to be. I have a vision, I think, of where it's going to be, of what I want. But God may have a plan to 10x what my vision is, because we don't ever know of what that is other than trusting that plan. So for me, it's staying really in sync with my own faith walk and praying of like, God, I know that I'm responsible for Andrew Ruiz and I'm IMPACT-X Performance Huntington Beach and the other 6 folks right now that I wake up, I'm like, I got a mission that I've got to serve to help make these people successful. But I know that that's coming through me.
Yeah.
Right? It's not from me. It's coming through me to stay uber focused on that and staying in touch with my own faith walk and say, like, this, all of this that's happened from the start of FQ10 in year 2000 to now, it's part of a master plan.
Yeah.
It's part of a bigger plan that, when you're obedient to what that is, sometimes it takes a darn pandemic and a shovel across the head to say, okay, knucklehead, here's what I want you to do. And then, here we sit in 2024. It just drops in October of 24. So it comes down to serving.
Yeah.
And the faith walk again of, that's the hardest thing, because what is faith? It's believing even when we don't see. We don't see what's going to happen in 2025.
Yeah.
We're going to go to Montana here in 6 weeks or so, and we're gonna actually go deep on what 2025 looks like. It's going to be really important because we got to have a vision and forecast that. But when we get thrown curveballs, how do we react to that? What do we do? So roundabout way, I got thrown off a little bit. So thank you for throwing me a curveball. I like it.
Yeah, you know what? My mom says it all the time. God had a plan for you long before you were even born.
That's right.
You know what I mean? And I think it's up to us to really allow that plan to happen, right? And don't fight it. And I think I've been through a lot of similar similar situations that you're just explaining right now. And I think the other thing too is that, God really puts people in front of you at the right times.
Absolutely.
And, the last thing that I just wanted to say is how, thankful I am for you and how much gratitude I have for, you opening your door to everything that I have to offer. I feel like I want to go out and create the same impact that you do. And it's been an amazing ride so far. And I can't wait until, November 7th, because it's kind of a culmination of it all. You know what I mean? And we're going to be standing in there, just really looking around and understanding that everything that we had been talking about for so long is happening. So that's awesome.
I put in my DOD, the dose of Durkin goes every Thursday. Recently, there was a Soul Fuel one that was about worry. And not worrying. Not worrying about everything. Like, I've spent a lot of my life worrying about all of the things, right? And the more I learn about faith and go deeper on faith, you don't spend as much time worrying about the things you can't control. Because we as human beings, I don't know about y'all, but me, I spend too much time worrying about every detail, everything on that. And I'm always praying to God, like, please just help me stay focused on the path. Right, and staying on that path and not every detail, because you sweat the details, but how do you not spend the time in worrying about those things? Because when you have a dream, if you spend all your time worrying, you don't ever even take action on the dream, because you say, oh, I can't do something. Yeah. I can't start a franchise. I can't support this. I can't do that. I can't do that. And is that the devil talking on one shoulder? Or is that your ego talking? Or are you walking in faith? And that's what faith is all about, and that's the relationship that I've had in my God, is having that strength to really listen to those whispers versus not spending the time in fear and worry of all the what can go wrong, the what ifs, so to speak. Is I'm going to stay resolute to the fact that what my faith walk is telling me I need to do. I just said this the other day to a dear friend of mine. I said, I'd rather fail doing what I'm doing right now and fail knowing what I'm supposed to be doing, and then God someday say, well done, good and faithful servant, you listened, versus sitting comfy and doing what I was doing, like just doing that. But there was always that thing, that whisper deep down, like, hey, I'm calling you to do more. Yeah. Are you going to listen? Are you going to step up? Or are you just going to keep it? And there's nothing wrong with what I was doing. There's nothing wrong. But sometimes there's these whispers in life that you're being called to do something even greater, that if it keeps whispering for months or even years, which for me it was years, it's time to go. And I'm in the middle of that right now with IMPACT-X Performance. Of like, here we are. Like, you're opening in less than a month. We got 7, and I got huge aspirations. I'm like, God, just keep guiding the ship. Yeah. That's why faith. Like, you don't see faith and fitness. People saying, hey, we're a faith and fitness and recovery and life coaching business. I'm like, no, we are. That's what we're doing. Yep. Like, I'm not afraid to say faith is at the forefront of this, and it doesn't matter what faith you are. If you're not even of faith, fantastic. Come work out. Come do the recovery. Awesome. But when something goes wrong, come see me. Yeah. Let's pray together. Let's hang out together. Let's have some fellowship time together. It doesn't matter what you believe, what you don't believe. Like, to me, that's what faith is all about. And man, I'm getting all fired up. But it's the question. Yeah, what I hear in your voice. I mean, your voice picked up. Faith gives you confidence. Yeah, you know what I mean? It's amazing how when you truly believe in something and you have faith that whatever happens is going to happen. Yeah. I mean, how easy is it to talk through it? 100%. And all of us. I mean, we have things that come up, good, bad, whatever. It's always that faith that gets you through the toughest of times. And for me, that's why I started IMPACT-X Performance. And that's why when I talked to Travis about that, and I talked to you, one of the first guys I talked to, Andrew, because hey, I'm thinking about doing this. And before you do anything, let's chat, because I know where I was at. God was calling me to step into an even greater self, not knowing all the answers. I don't know all the answers yet, but I know enough people around me who, after being in the business for so long, I'm blessed to have some really, really, really good people around. They keep appearing. Answers keep appearing. And that's when you know. and you could probably relate to this, is sometimes when you're at the, like, I don't know how I'm going to do this. Just at the right time, the person comes in, or you get an opportunity to go do a speaking opportunity. You get to do this, or a check comes in, like, whew, that was a godsend.
Yep.
That was a godsend. That's when you know that there's a bigger play in all of this that we're speaking about. And anyway, thanks for the question. I'll end it with this. Impact. Impact is legacy. It's the Impact Show. What is Andrew Ruiz's impact these days? What does impact mean to you?
I just want to, leave wherever I'm at. I want to leave it better than, what it was before I got there. You know what I mean? I want my kids to, grow up and be proud of, everything that we've accomplished as a family. You know what I mean? I want every team that I coach, I want to make sure that, if I go to the next thing, or if I move on for whatever reason, that when I leave, they know that they're set up, for a long time coming. So I just, I feel it in my heart. I'm passionate about it. And I want to make sure that, everybody I cross paths with knows that if I'm around, then I'm going to, put in the blood, sweat, and tears that's required to help elevate others around me. So,
Andrew, thank you. Thank you for everything that you're doing. I can't wait for November 7th. I can't wait to be in the house and be up in Huntington and celebrate with you and Amanda and Steve and Sarah and all of the members up there. It's going to be just a huge celebration, because it hasn't been just a few months of, hey, I'm going to, invest in IMPACT-X Performance. It really has been years in the making of everything you've been through as a client and an intern, and all the different programs you mentioned that we've had, and then all the way up into I'm going to now go change lives.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to celebrate you on November 7th. And thank you for being here today. Folks, you probably heard the love and empathy in his voice. Make sure you follow Andrew at Drew Ruiz 12 on Instagram, Drew Ruiz 12. And of course, IMPACT-X Performance HB, like Huntington Beach, where you're going to see you're doing a great job. You and the team are doing a great job in tracking the progress. So guys, if you want to see it, go to their Instagram page and see like the build out going on right now. It's disheveled, like it's in the middle of a transformation, but it's always like sometimes change in the beginning is a little bit messy, right? And then at the end, it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
And right now, as we speak, it's a little messy. But in the end, here, November 7th on, it's going to be a beautiful thing. So, Andrew, thanks for being here today, brother.
Thanks, TD. Really appreciate it.
Folks, that's a wrap. And that was Andrew Ruiz. And I just absolutely loved every bit of that conversation and what Andrew shared as a husband, as a father, as a leader at C.H.O.C. 133 employees. 133. And then what he's doing at IMPACT-X Performance. And let me tell you, Amanda Middleman and Steve Middleman up there have really created something special. And what they're doing with Andrew is beyond phenomenal. And I'm so excited for November 7th. If you're in the area, you're in SoCal, you want to be there, please join me, join Andrew in celebrating this with Amanda and Steve and that entire community. If you're not in SoCal, then just fly out to Huntington Beach. No, I'm only joking. You don't have to fly out, but you can follow us on social media, and we'll be sharing a lot of the clips there. And don't forget, we do have that Montana retreat coming up in November. So if you want to see Andrew and the team, it's going to be an amazing time in Montana. So don't forget to join us. And if you're interested someday in an IMPACT-X Performance, whether you own a gym now and you're looking for a facelift, or if you don't and you would like to someday get into the fitness space, I'd love to partner with you. Just go to IMPACTXFranchise.com, IMPACTXFranchise.com, and you can take a look at all that. You can hop on a phone call and we can bring you through just the ins and outs. We want to partner with the right people like Andrew Ruiz, people who have a heart and soul to change lives. And if that's you and you're a man or woman who's looking to make great impact in the world, then maybe someday that's something that you want to look into as well. I had an absolute blast today talking to Andrew Ruiz and having him in the house. I hope you love that episode as much as I enjoyed sitting down with Andrew. Follow us. Make sure you snap a picture and get that out on your social media. And remember, until next time, train hard, eat right, live inspired, and go create impact today. Be the light, my friends. Be the light.